What's up, guys? Back on me here we got Beyblade Burst Surge, Episode 3, Persistence Klossal Strike. Okay, so this episode starts off at the comic gym where Rantaro was like, hey, time for practice at Bay Camp, and they're like, and Rika, Guy, and Chuck are like, Guy's like, hey, do we have to do this too? And he's like, and he yells at them saying, you're a part of the comics, aren't you? And he's like, oh, it's like these guys want to get nowhere. And then we see Hikaru and Higa running, and yeah. So then next we get into the battle. Glide Rantaro does the lightning launch. They go. But they can't beat him. So after we got spin, sorry for the clean. After we got spin, we see a car you get at the Feeling Restaurant with Rika, Guy, and Chuck, and you could just eating on his dad's noodles, and Rika, Guy, and Chuck are like, oh, we can't eat the noodles, so Hikaru's like, Hugo's like, I'll eat it for you, and he's like, Hikaru, do you want me your noodles? And Hikaru's like, why can't I beat him? And he's like, and he starts eating his noodles, and he's like, I'll race ya. Eating the noodles. So then Hikaru's like, then it's bedtime, and Hikaru watching the battle between Glide Rocktvor and learning how to do it. But then when his mom comes in, he's fast asleep. So she turns off his laptop, and then turns off his iPad. So after the intro, after the Hikaru is like, I'm ready to battle him, and he's like, and Hugo's like, is he mad? He's like, no, he's just determined. So we get into Glide Rocktvor and Rantaro versus Klossal, Helio, and Hikaru, and they battle. Rantaro does a lightning launch, Hikaru does a lightning launch, and we get into a battle. It isn't going well for Hikaru. Rantaro switches. Rantaro goes in. Rantaro activates Rocktvor's avatar, and then Hikaru bangs into Rocktvor, but gets knocked back, and before he gets knocked out of the stadium, he falls back in, and he's like, oh, that was his plan. So he's like, Helios, and we see Helios' avatar, and he's like, Klossal Strike, and burst Rocktvor side. So after the title card, we get into the second half of the episode, which was episode 6 of Sparking, and this episode has not been named at the time of making it, has not been named at the recording of this video, but since it was called Curse Satan's Challenge in Japan, I think it'll be changed to something like Curse the Tunes Challenge. Okay, so Rantaro was like, hey, I got a new place to show you, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, this will be your place for you guys to challenge great bladers like Silas, almost says Cisco, Japanese name, Silas, Vault, and he's like, and yours truly, he's like, I'll get the battle, Cisco, Silas, and Vault, and he's like, were you even paying attention? So he's like, Silas, and he's like, Hugo's like, Silas, and he's like, bruh, step back, you already lost to me, and he's like, I'm not giving up. He's like, dude, let it go. And Rentaro's like, sorry. Rentaro's like, this dude is a very powerful blader. And he's like, sure, let's have a battle. So we get into the battle. Silas does a lightning launch. Hyuga misses his lightning launch, and we get into the battle. Curse the Tomb versus Super Hyperion, and immediately, Curse the Tomb does Universe Drift and beats Hyperion. So Hyuga is super mad, and then some new players come in, even Ranjiro, ending the episode. So yeah, I think this episode is actually part 2, Costume Challenge. Sorry, messed up the last part. But anyway, this episode starts off part 2, which was episode 6 of Sparking, and Ranjiro comes in and he's like, Hikaru, Hyuga. And Hikaru's ready, but Hyuga's too busy focusing on Silas. And he's like, are you even listening? And he's like, hey, Pineapple Head. And he's like, yeah. But then Volt comes in. So then Volt's like, hey, here. So Silas and Hyuga just make funny faces at each other, and Volt's like, hey, here's some here's some training for you. You guys will be, if you do some training, you'll get into the Legend Festival. And he's like, hey Hyuga, we'll get into the Legend Festival. And he's like, wait, the Legend Festival? And guys like, they're acting like they just got it, that they just got in. So yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna battle you, Silas. And he's like, first we need to train you up. So then we get a montage of them training. Rantaro, Hyuga trying to beat Silas, Rantaro trying to beat Hyuga with the training thing. And yeah, so after that, Hyuga's like, the guys are like, Hyuga's like, I want to beat Silas, and he's like, bro. And he puts on a mask of Silas, and for some reason Hyuga's like, oh Silas, when'd you get here? And they're all just face palming because he's did see Hikaru. So yeah. So Rantaro comes and he's like, hey, bro, Hyuga won't be in today. He is some special training. And he's like, are you gonna miss him? And he's like, no. Good, I won't have to hear his annoying voice. And he's like, you're missing Silas. And then Ranjiro's like, what kind of special training could he be doing? And then he goes to then Ranjiro sneakily goes to the comic gym, goes to the window, and he sees them letting it rip with Silas's mask on him, and he's like, they've lost it. And yeah, so Hyuga, so after that, Hyuga's like, Hyuga goes and he's like, hey, Silas, let's battle. And he's like, yeah, so he's like, let's do it. So Hyuga's launch is 3, 2, 1, let it rip. Lightning launch for the first time. Silas does lightning launch, and he's like, and Richo's like, wait, what? And he's like, a lightning launch. And he's like, oh, a lightning launch. Huh. Let's see if you can back that up. And he's like, Universe Drift. But he would go, Super Strike. And he goes, Hyperion. And Silas goes, Saturn. And we see Hyperion and Saturn's avatar. He goes Super Strike, bursts the tomb, and you guys win the match. And then Hikaru's like, hey, I'm gonna battle him. And he's like, no. And he's like, no, I'm gonna battle him. And he's like, are you two even listening to what I'm saying? And yeah, and then Vault's like, Hikaru and Hyuga, Beyblade's gonna get so kinda epic now, ending the episode. Okay, so I thought this episode was really good. Sorry for wearing the same shirt 3 times. I will be changing my shirt, but so I can do it for this review because Beyblade Surge seems like a very good show so far. So anyway, yeah, this episode showed really good stuff. It showed Hikaru, he was finally showing off a lightning launch. We know Silas secretly missed Hikaru. So yeah. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next Beyblade Burst Surge.